Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is 6th of May, now it's 15 past 12, middle of the day by Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update today, in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. Second update will be a little bit late in the afternoon on my Patreon page, and if you are interested in additional news, I hope you will consider possibility to subscribe on my Patreon. You will see link under this video in the description box. That's been said, let's talk about news now, and I will start with Ukraine. I will start with Ukraine, and first news that I'm gonna share with you is about Gonzalo Lira. We all of us are familiar with this person. I don't know him personally, but I do watch his videos, roundtable, or any other updates that he makes on his channels. And yesterday, Russian Telegram channels did report that Gonzalo Lira was detained by SBU, Ukraine's secret service, and they are accusing him in justification of Russian aggression. Absolute crap, of course. Gonzalo Lira did not justify anything. He is just reporting and sharing his opinion about not just events in Ukraine, but in the world. And we all know this perfectly well. And I think it's obligation of ours, everyone that are creating content in this segment of news and politics, and are independent. It's our obligation to raise our voice to somehow try to help Gonzalo Lira so that he will be freed, and then I hope he will leave Ukraine, because this is second time that he has been detained in Ukraine, and we all know what kind of regime is running this failed state. So it's really too dangerous. Ukraine is not a place where you can do some independent journalism. So let's hope Gonzalo Lira will be freed, and then will leave Ukraine. Of course, my voice not gonna be heard that much, but probably big channels will also devote time to this information, and they can be heard, because big channels, they have some influence for sure. So that's been said, let's talk about some other informations that are making headlines in Russia, and I will start, of course, with statements from Prigozhin. Yesterday, when I was uploading my first update for main channel on YouTube, then I see that Telegram channel did start reporting about Prigozhin's new statements, so I was unable to talk about it in yesterday's update, although I did spoke about Prigozhin and his statements in my second update on Patreon. But because I did not have opportunity to share video information in yesterday on main channel, I will share it now, and probably you all are familiar with this topic. Prigozhin said that PMC Wagner units, due to shortages of ammunition, especially artillery shells, PMC Wagner units will hold on to their positions in Bakhmut up to 9th of May, and then on 10th of May they will transfer their positions to Russian armed forces and leave this town. He was yet again quite direct in his criticism towards leadership of Russian Defense Ministry, Shoigu, Defense Minister Shoigu, and the head of General Staff Gerasimov. I guess he's probably critical of deputies, most of the deputies of these two individuals. Also, because yesterday later on in the afternoon, Prigozhin did made yet another video statements, and he said that only general in leadership of Russian defense ministry that was trying to resolve issue of shortages of ammunition was General Mizintsev, and he was for some reason fired just recently, or removed from his position, let's say this way. And yet again, in that second video, Prigozhin also spoke about Shoigu and Gerasimov, and he said that these two individuals will be forced to answer to tens of thousands or to relatives of tens of thousands of killed and wounded fighters. And well, what can I say about this situation? By the way, also yesterday, later on, Kadyrov, head of Chechen Republic, did make statement, and he said that it's unfortunate to see this kind of confrontation between the leaders of PMC, Wagner, and Russian Defense Ministry, and it's even more unfortunate that this confrontation is taking place in open space, and public not gonna be pleased by this kind of situation. And of course, he is absolutely right. Questions are rising, obviously, and no one is happy to see that this kind of confrontation is taking place. And Kadyrov said that if PMC Wagner units will leave Bakhmut, then Chechen forces will replace them if they will, if they will be such a need. Well, situation is really difficult and strange same time, because we never see anything like this before. Prigozhin was critical of Shoigu and Gerasimov, but lately, last few days, I mean, he is just unstoppable, it seems like, and he is very angry. And I think I did share my opinion about this situation a little bit yesterday, but I think if situation will not be resolved in a fairly short amount of time, then maybe Shoigu and Gerasimov will be replaced. But yet again, this is my guess, which is based on my reading of big picture. So I can be mistaken. Who knows? But as I understand, Prigozhin is very close to Putin. They know each other for a long time, and I guess Putin trusts Prigozhin and Putin trusts Kadyrov much more than many other high-ranking officials. So yes, I don't know what will happen, but this kind of confrontation is definitely unfortunate, especially during the special military operation. But in coming days, Putin will probably address this issue, maybe not openly necessarily. He will probably address this issue, and he will make some decisions that are needed. And we had statement from Peskov, press spokesman of Vladimir Putin, and he said that Kremlin is aware of this situation. So it will not take long before Moscow Kremlin will make decisions. And by the way, yesterday we had information also that Shoigu, during his inspection in one of the regions, appointed yet another general with the task to make sure that all the units on the front line are receiving all the necessary ammunition. So I think Shoigu did listen to this situation, and he appointed high-ranking official to deal with the logistics, so that there will be no issues on the front line. I don't know if it will work or not, but maybe it's already too late to resolve issues between leadership of PMC Wagner and leadership of Defense Ministry. Who knows? Maybe someone has to go. I don't know. And by the way, we also have statements from Prigozhin, and he's very active, as I said lately, and according to him, Zelensky's regime is transferring in direction of Artyomovsk, same as Bakhmut, from 400 to 600 fighters on daily basis, and Bakhmut garnison is losing approximately same amount of fighters on every single day. Well, I don't really have a reason to don't take these numbers seriously, because we all know that it's some unbelievably stiff fighting is going on inside Bakhmut. And if we take a look on this map, which is a little bit updated from yesterday, we can see that line of contact yet again did move westwards. So PMC Wagner units, despite all this noise, they are still managing to move forward and establish new positions. But yet again, as I said yesterday, as long as Zelensky's regime is holding to these high-rise buildings, it's only a few blocks here, really. But still, as long as they are holding to their positions in these high-rise buildings, formalization of Russian victory in battle for Bakhmut will continue. But once PMC Wagner will establish control over this area here on southwest side of this little pocket that's still under control of Zelensky's regime, then fight effectively is over, because there is no way Ukrainian forces gonna hold on to this private sector for a long time. It's just they may not even try. Once they will lose these high-rise buildings, they will flee Bakhmut, and they will try to establish some additional positions in Krasna here in this settlement, but I don't think they will be able to hold on to these positions here for much longer, because once this defense line of Ukraine collapse in Bakhmut entirely, then Chisov Yar will become next hot point in fairly short amount of time. Straight away, we can say, in weeks' time. Let me continue with some additional news. And by the way, when it comes to frontline, generally it's same situation that always for last month or two. Kherson region is artillery duels. Zaporozhye region mainly artillery duels. Donetsk direction is, we all know where is hot points. It's Marinka. And as you can see, when this pro-Ukrainian map is step by step, but acknowledging that almost nothing is left under control of Zelensky's regime in this area. And Avdiivka, of course. Avdiivka, but when it comes to Avdiivka, I believe Russian side is now using same tactic in the city as they did in Bakhmut. And Avdiivka is becoming little Bakhmut. It's like magnet for Ukrainian forces. They are pouring in, and then Russian side with artillery and aviation are taking out the positions one by one. Of course, Bakhmut is a hot point and will be hot point for quite some time, but battle for Bakhmut is effectively over. As I said, it's just formalization, because just look at it, man. Even this pro-Ukrainian map is acknowledging that, I mean, just nothing, almost nothing is left under control of Zelensky's regime. And once they will lose this block here with high-rise apartments, then that's it. There will be nothing to hold on for Zelensky's regime there. And of course, Seversk also artillery duels. But yet again, overall situation is that everyone or almost everyone now probably are waiting when will resolve situation in Bakhmut and when will Zelensky's regime start its offensive or counteroffensive operations that have been announced for how many months now, who knows. So let me share some other news now. And this is TASS news agency's report, according to which Russian air defense systems did work on the northern part of Crimea early morning, and we don't have detailed information what has happened, but according to head of Republic Oleg Krychkov, no one was injured on the ground, no one was wounded, and there were no any kind of destruction on the ground. So probably Russian air defense systems did take out all the aerial targets that were approaching Crimea. Let me continue now, and this is important news. TASS news agency is reporting that from Zaporozhye region, some 70,000 people will be evacuated from 18 different settlements, including Energodar. So if you remember yesterday, in yesterday's update, I did share information that which was based on statements from representative of Rosenergoatom, and this official was talking about possible evacuation of people from Zaporozhye region due to risks of flooding. And if you remember, I did said that, in my understanding, flooding is just a pretext to evacuate civilians. And later on yesterday, late afternoon, we did have this kind of news, this kind of updates, and here we don't see any words about flooding. It says straight that people will be evacuated because of intensification of fire from Zelensky's regime. And let me show you this area. By the way, we are talking about Zaporozhye region. So as I understand, this is Energodar here. That's Energodar. This is Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. And as I understand, civilians will be evacuated from settlements on this bank of Kakhovka reservoir, water reservoir, and also from some settlements on the front line here, which is understandable because if Russian side has intelligence, and I did spoke about it yesterday, if Russian side has good intelligence that Zelensky's regime will definitely try to conduct some, let's say, marine or amphibious operation to cross this water reservoir and try to establish control over the Energodar or Zaporozhye nuclear power plant or any other settlement, really, it's obligation for Russian side to evacuate civilians. So now, when it's official and when we know that civilians will be evacuated, we do know that Zelensky's offensive operations of Zelensky's regime will definitely take place in sometime in the nearest future. As I said many times before, only way Zelensky's regime will achieve anything on this land bridge between Crimea and mainland Russia is if Moscow will, for some strange reasons, will give order to Russian side to retreat or regroup, like it happened in Kharkov region or Kherson region. But I think this time, at least for now, they are not. We are not seeing indicators that this kind of stuff may happen. So if Russian side will stay and fight, then Zelensky's regime is doomed to fail with its offensive operations or counteroffensive operations. And once again, by the way, I'm staying on my position that Zelensky's regime is unable to conduct large-scale counteroffensive because they don't have enough manpower, first of all. For large-scale counteroffensive, Zelensky's regime needs at least 150 to 200,000 soldiers, and even that may not be enough. In ideal conditions, they probably need some, I don't know, 300,000 soldiers to conduct effective large-scale counteroffensive in direction of this land bridge between Crimea and mainland Russia. But because they have only, in my reading of picture and in my analysis of sources, information from open sources, Zelensky's regime has in Kherson region and Zaporozhye region about 50 to 70, maybe 80,000 soldiers, and this is not enough, of course, to conduct large-scale offensive operations, but it's enough to conduct local-scale offensives, and they will conduct these kind of offensives, and for the first few days, they will probably achieve some local-scale success before Russian side will stop them and before these forces of Zelensky's regime will run out of steam. Then Russian side will push them back, and quite possible that then Russian side will conduct offensive operations. So let's see how situation will develop. And evacuation of civilians are quite strong indicator that activization of a fight in this area is not far away. Let me continue now. And yes, this is quite interesting. Also, TASS news agency is reporting that Russian FSB managed to neutralize terrorist group of Ukrainian military intelligence, which was planning to conduct a terror attack on one of the high-ranking officials of Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. So, yet again, it's good that Russian security services are trying their best to neutralize these terrorists that Zelensky's regime is sending to conduct terror attacks on Russian soil. But yet again, Russian security services may neutralize 80, 90, 95% of threats, but it's almost impossible to neutralize all the terrorists for 100%. I mean, this kind of stuff never happened anywhere. And that's why, unfortunately, some Ukrainian terrorists are managing to successfully conduct terror strikes on Russian soil. But yet again, FSB and some other security forces are working, and we are hearing this kind of information almost on daily basis. And as I understand, anti-terror units of FSB and some other security services are professionals, and they are doing the job quite well. But yet again, it's impossible. It's just technically impossible to neutralize all the terrorists for 100%, because it's just an unbelievable task. So let me continue now, and we have RIA Novosti's report, according to which Bastrykin, head of investigative committee of Russia, made statements that more than 126,000 people in Donbass region have been let me translate this for you, that way it will be. So over 126,000 residents of Donbass have been recognized as victims of the crimes of Kiev regime since 2014, said Alexander Bastrykin, chairman of the investigative committee of Russia. This is RIA Novosti's report. So you can see scale of destruction that Zelensky's regime and before Zelensky, some other leadership of Ukraine did bring to Donbass. 126,000 people have been recognized as a casualty. as a victim of this criminal Nazi regime that was being established in Ukraine with active support of USA, UK, and some other NATO member states in 2014. And when someone in the West says anything about Russian special military operation, I mean, you have to take this, you have to print this information on a paper and just put that paper in the mouth of that animals that are saying just anything against Russia and special military operation. This Kiev Nazi regime that was established in Kiev in 2014 were killing thousands and thousands of people, man. And as you can see, more than 126,000 people have been recognized as victims. And do you surprised with this high number? I'm not, because just look what they are doing in connection to Donetsk. They are shelling Donetsk with Grad multi-launch rocket systems, and Grad is not a precise weapon. They are just launching missiles in the direction of city civilian to distract and to damage city civilian infrastructure and to kill as many civilians as they possibly can. And this is war crime, in my understanding. That's what they are doing. Let me continue now, and this is TASS News Agency's report, according to which EU leadership is now made up his mind, and it's official that they will spend yet another 1 billion to buy some missiles and artillery shells for Zelensky's regime. They were talking about it, and I did share information with you in previous updates that they were planning to spend yet another billion, and it seems like they did agree on this issue, and fairly soon Zelensky's regime will receive some more ammunition from West to kill more civilians. That's the unfortunate reality of modern days. Let me continue. RBK News Agency is reporting that EU leaders, these Brussels bureaucrats, now are thinking to put some barriers for export from EU in the third countries that are not imposing sanctions on Russia, on third countries that are becoming part of, let's say, alternative import routes for Russia. And according to this information, if this will not work, then EU bureaucrats, these corrupt bureaucrats in Brussels, they are planning to impose total ban on exports from EU on certain products. I don't know, man, what kind of free market economy they are building there in EU, but this is definitely not free market when they are imposing bans to business, and these bureaucrats are telling private companies what they can export and what they cannot. I mean, and we are not talking about some military technologies, of course, isn't it? Because when it comes to military weaponry or military technology, it's always secret, and it's always under scrutiny. We are talking about civilian products. But in the Russophobic hysteria, Brussels bureaucrats don't really know what to do anymore, and they are coming up with this kind of crazy stuff that they're gonna impose some bans on export from EU. I don't know, EU business in Europe not gonna be happy about it, because I mean, some of the companies, especially small businesses, they may just get bankrupt because of these crazy policies of Brussels bureaucrats that are not representing nobody EU member states, citizens of EU member states, never vote for any of these idiots, isn't it? So who are they? These Borrells and other these crazy, yeah. It's not worth to even remember names of these creatures, man. So this is gonna be last news for today. And by the way, I hope EU citizens of EU countries will wake up, because it's time, for God's sake, man. After all, these Brussels bureaucrats are damaging economies of EU states, and how long ordinary citizens of Europe gonna stay silent? I mean, why? And this is gonna be the last news for this short update. I hope it's short. Let me check. 30 minutes, okay. And we have a TASS News Agency's report, which is based on article in Bloomberg that said that US will provide Taiwan with the weapons for $500 million. As I understand, there is no detailed information what kind of weapons US will provide to Taiwan, but my guess is they will provide Taiwan with anti-ship missiles and some air defense systems. That's my guess, yet again, because just recently we had information that Taiwan wanted to or planned to purchase some Harpoon anti-ship missiles in US. Of course, Beijing not gonna be happy about it, and these kind of steps from Washington definitely goes against formal policy of US that it's one state. It's one state, and Taiwan is a part of China. Even US does recognize this, but in the actions, they truly are supporting some separatist movement in Taiwan, and they are provoking war, basically. They are provoking war. Let's hope they're not gonna succeed, because this world don't really need any more large-scale confrontations anywhere. I mean, it's too much, really, too much destruction. But yet again, we are talking about Western elites, and I don't think they truly care about this world or human civilization. So this is it. This is it. Yet again, Beijing not gonna be happy about this information, but let's see how situation will develop. I hope you will find this video interesting. I wish you a great weekend. And yes, please hit that like button, leave some commentary about any topic you like. If you can, please share links to my videos or my channel with your friends, or on Facebook, Twitter, Telegram, or any other platform that you are active on. And if you think this channel is interesting and deserves to exist, please consider to support with small donations through PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. You will see links under this video in the description box. Yet again, I wish you a great weekend, and take care. See you soon.